computer. Hari Bol. So, thank you for coming and thank you for the wonderful Jai Radha Madhav prayers. Now we just start with where we had left last time, pretty much at the second section, end of the second section of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. Now, if we remember, in the very beginning, about a year ago, it's been some time since we started and we looked at the divisions of this chapter. So the first 10 verses, Arjun was surrendering to Krishna and Arjun was describing his doubts. And from there onwards, till verse number 30, we are doing 29 today. So till the verse number 30, which is next week, that will be the end of Krishna's first set of teachings to Arjun. And Krishna is trying to answer him in various ways in this chapter to allay or remove the doubts of Krishna, of Arjun. And what he has done so far, and before I come to that, 29 we are doing today, 30 next week, and that will sum up these two verses now that we are going to do are going to sum up the first set of teachings that Arjun is being given by Krishna to remove his doubts. And the doubts he has casted primarily were that if I kill my own people, if I kill my own relatives, if I kill my own elders, if I kill my own gurus, then I'll be suffering the reactions. And this is despite that Arjun was well aware what his duty was. His duty was that of a Kshatriya and he was forgetting it. So Krishna wants to answer him in various ways. And the very first way Krishna used is to tackle those Arjun's doubts by the path of Jnana. So Arjun has been given the Jnana, the transcendental knowledge. And then we'll come to the other paths in 2 weeks' time, in which Krishna will separately tackle the same issues of Arjun through other two ways. So right now, Krishna has answered him, okay, Arjun, if you understand Gyan, if you understand the knowledge, then let me talk to you through the knowledge point of view and see if your doubts really hold good. The assertions you are making, O Arjun, do they really stand up? So far, Arjun has been given a knowledge of Atma, the soul, and the body. That's knowledge, transcendental knowledge. You're an Atma. You are transcendental to the three modes of material nature. You're an Atma which cannot be burnt. So are your gurus. They're not just these bodies. And even if you consider these bodies, they will come back again. Atma, if it's Atma, it never even dies. And if they are bodies, then whoso jatasi dhromityam dharam dhromit jatasmit. If anybody dies, is bound to take birth again. So if they are bodies, they will take birth again. Nothing wrong with that. And if they are souls, they're never going to die. So Arjun here has been given that knowledge to say, no, if you think your relatives will die because you are killing them or so-called killing them, no, they will not die. It's just that you are doing your duty, but they will not die. So you are not going to get any reactions of your karmas. This is what Krishna tells Arjun as a matter of jnana, knowledge. And now we are coming to the last two verses which sum up this jnana section. So let's, I'll read it once and maybe one of the devotees can try and read it again. So today's verse is Ascharyavat paschid kaschid enam Ascharyavat. Let me just put in the English part. So can I increase it anymore? Let me see. आश्चर्यवद पश्यति कश्चित् एनम् आश्चर्यवद वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनम् अन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वापि एनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. Radha Mata, do you want to try it once?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can try. Ascharyavat pashanti kishchind enam ascharyavat vadati tat haiva chan chanyah
Chanyaha.
ascharyavat chainam anyashnoti Srutvapi enam veda na chaiva kaschit.
Thank you. And Mataji, you're very enthusiastic all the time you're attending the classes. Thank you. Would you like to try? Okay. Anybody else would like to try? No worries. So, Ascharyavad Pashati Kashid Enam. Ascharyavad Vadati Thaivacha Ascharyavat Chainam Anyah Shunoti. Shutvapi Enam Vedana Chaiva Kaschid. Now, Arjun may say, you know, Krishna, I have heard and I have seen a lot of intelligent people. So let's just have a look at the previous verse before we just look at the translation of this verse. Last week, what we did was all created beings are unmanifested in their beginning, manifested in their interim state, and unmanifested again when annihilated. So, what is the need for lamentation? Arjun, why are you crying? You did not see your relatives in the past. Then they took birth and they became visible to you, so called birth. And then they will become into an unmanifested state again. So, why are you even crying? Because if they are unmanifested, they'll become manifested again. And in any case, they were unmanifested before, and they'll become unmanifested very soon. So what are you crying for? You never saw them in the before. You will never see them in the future. What are you crying for? Now Arjun may say here, but Krishna, I have seen some of the highly elevated people also crying at the departure of their loved ones, for example. Isn't that a bit surprising? That even though people who are so learned, let alone the normal people, in Hindi we say, विद्वान भी शोक करते हैं. सामान्य मनुष्य का तो कहना ही क्या. Even the learned cry, then what to say of the normal people? Isn't it that we are meant to be attached to this bodily concept? Because we are seeing even the learned people doing it. Aren't we take them as an example? And this is where Krishna says to Arjun, yes, even a lot of learned people do it. Why? Because this concept of Atma is very amazing. Atma itself is very amazing. Ascharyavat, Ascharya, amazement. Seeing Kaschit, someone, one of the thousands, millions, one of them. What they see, it's surprising. People know about Atma. People have heard about Atma. People have read about Atma. Still, the concept of Atma does not register into them. That is a surprising part of it. And this is where Krishna is summing up. Let's have a look. Ascharyavat, as amazing. Pashyati, sees. Kaschit, someone. Enam, this soul. Ascharyavat, as amazing. Can you see Ascharyavat, how many times it is being used? 3 times here. Vadati speaks of. Tatha, thus. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Anyaha, another. Ascharyavat, similarly amazing, as is 3rd time now. Cha, also. Enam, this soul. In Hindi we say yah, enam, this soul. Anyaha, another. Shunoti, hears of. Shutva, having heard. Api, even. Enam, this soul. Ved, knows. Na, never. Cha, and. Eva, certainly. Kaschid, someone. Translation. And Prabhupada, Basila Prabhupada ki jai. Some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. Be careful. Some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. And some hear of him as amazing. 3 different things here. While others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. See the importance of this translation or this verse. Arjun is already saying, I have been in the Gurukul, Krishna. I have heard it all. Okay, I ask a question to everyone in our group. Do you think Arjun had the knowledge of the soul before? क्या अर्जुन को आत्मा का ज्ञान था? Did Arjun have the knowledge of the soul before? Would anyone like to answer that online?
Yeah, maybe, Prabhuji.
Maybe. Why do you say that?
Because because yeah, I don't know, Prabhuji. I can't.
Okay.
I feel he knows because at that in during those time and age, things like soul and body was always talked about. So he must be having some idea that he may be not a soul. I mean, not just a body, but he's a soul.
Right.
Yeah.
In Bhagavad Gita, before we reach this section that we are reading now, there was one place where Arjun has cast his doubt. And here is that doubt. When he's speaking of all his doubts, all his reservations. So what does he say? Ussanukula dharmanam, manushyanam janardanaha, narke, narak, hell, niyatam vaso. They will dwell in hell. Bhavatiti anushushuma. What does it mean? I'll give you the meaning. This is before he surrenders to Krishna. He says, "O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell." Arjun had one reservation. If I kill my elders, if I kill my gurus, the family traditions will be destroyed. Who will teach the new generation what the family traditions are? And if they are destroyed, the people who destroy them, people like me, the Arjun, who will kill his gurus and the elders, such people dwell, they stay or they live always in hell. Aha. So Arjun knows that something goes to hell. कुछ तो नरक में जाता है. Now, if Arjun has seen dead bodies before, then he knows the body is not going to hell because the body is lying there. And this statement of Arjun, where he says, they dwell in hell. Those who are those? And who goes to hell? The body is not going to hell. That means Arjun knew there is a soul, and the soul gets an appropriate body to take the pains in the hell. That means Arjun was aware of the knowledge of the soul. And that's why in today's verse, he is amazed, and Krishna is trying to tell him, yes, I know you are amazed. Why? Because you are aware of the knowledge of the soul, and still you yourself and many like you are not able to register it. And then there are others. Who are these others? I mean, I'm saying all this before we even go to the commentary or the purport, so that you get the full, a bit more conditioned before you go into the purport. And Krishna says, while there are others, कुछ और भी हैं. Who are these others? These are those who have no faith at all. Those who have faith, they look at the soul, they describe the soul, they hear about the soul and they see it as amazing. While there are others, means those who don't even have any faith, even after hearing about him, cannot understand. He means the soul, cannot understand him at all. They cannot understand the soul at all. For example, you have workmates, materialists, भौतिकवादी हैं, आपके काम में जो लोग मिलते हैं आपको. If you tell them, come, I'll teach you something, or I've heard something about the soul, I want to share it with you. And what is their first response? I haven't got time yet. I got to do this, I got to do that. Even if you manage to get them to sit down for 5 minutes to listen to you, just to tell them, look, you are a soul. Make the best use of the body you have got to deliver this soul from this material world. इस भौतिक जगत में तुम एक आत्मा फंस गए हो, यहां से निकलने के लिए इस शरीर का उपयोग करके निकलो यहां से. Just that much of knowledge if you are trying to give them, what is their reaction? जिनको faith नहीं है उनका reaction क्या होता है? यार मुंह बंद कर यार, please shut up यार, I need to go. They cannot understand him at all. And this is what Krishna has said to Arjun 5,000 years ago. The same jnana has been given billions of years before, as well as recorded. If you look at chapter 4, verse 1, tells you 4:1 and 4:2. If you calculate back, this is not the first time Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And even if for a minute we assume this was spoken 5,000 years ago, the concept still holds good even after 5,000 years. Okay, let's go to the details. Radha Mata, do you want to start the purport, or anybody?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can start. So I will start. Since Gita Upanishad is largely based on principle of Upanishad, it is not surprising that also find this passage in the Katha Upanishad.
Katha Upanishad.
Katha Upanishad. Okay, sorry, Raji.
That's okay.
Yeah. Do I say the shloka?
Shanayapi bhubhir yanalabhyaha shnutvo api bahavo yamna vidyuhu आश्चर्यो वक्तः कुशलो अस्य लब्धः आश्चर्यस्य ज्ञात कुशलानुशिष्टतः. See, can you see the word आश्चर्य? Amazing. And this is Kat Upanishad. Kat Upanishad is an Upanishad which was a dialogue between a young boy and Yamaraj. And this is where the knowledge part is coming. Something similar to what we are doing the verse today in one of the Upanishads called the Kat Upanishad. A similar description has been given of the amazement regarding the soul or the soul being amazing. Both are correct sentences. Okay. So
Yes.
amazement, amazement, amazing, amazing. Let's keep going. Okay. Mataji, please keep going.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and also in the microbiomes, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the
Stand by,
fifth living
Mataji.
being.
Okay, a quick question before we go into further discussion. Just a small question. So it says, this knowledge of the spark of spirit, even though लोगों को समझ, people do not understand it, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge. So who is that greatest authority of knowledge?
Is it Lord Brahma?
No, this greatest authority of knowledge imparted lessons to Brahma. So who is this greatest authority of
Oh,
knowledge?
Lord Krishna?
Thank you. Simple. Okay, keep going, please.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine how such a small particle can become both a great and so small. So men look at the soul proper is wonderful either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in the subject matter of sense gratification that they are very little time they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self-understanding all activities is ultimate is result in ultimate defeat in the struggle of for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul and thus make a solution to the material miseries.
Okay, there's a second
Some,
paragraph. I'll read that one. But
yes,
let's
true.
just concentrate. What is Krishna here saying? It's believe me, this actually text requires two classes or two sessions between us. But I'll just try to sum up. What Prabhupada is hitting at here is number one, he has said this is not the first time it has been said, and it is also been mentioned by other authorities, like in Kathopanishad. The exact translation of this verse I picked up from Kathopanishad. I'll just read it out to you. That Atma is not the subject of hearing for many, which means not very many people like to hear about Atma. If many persons hear about the Atma, they still do not know it. One who speaks about the Atma is rare. जो आत्मा के बारे में बोलता है बहुत कम लोग बोलते हैं. He is very rare. विरला ही कोई बोलता है. So one who speaks about the Atma is rare, and a skillful speaker is also rare. One who attains the Atma is rare. One who knows from a skillful teacher is rarer. Number one, there hardly anyone who can speak about it. Number two, even if they can speak, there are hardly anyone who would like to hear from him. Number three, there's hardly anyone who can speak like a good speaker, like a good teacher. which means they should have the concept very clear about Atma before they can impart the knowledge. Very rare. बहुत ही कम मिलेंगे ऐसे. And lastly, there are very rare who will take interest in the teaching being given by the teacher. Let me just see if I can bring that in front of you. 7.3 of Bhagavad Gita. What does he say? Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yati siddhaye. Krishna is telling Arjun. Yatam api siddhanam kaschin mam vedi tattvataha. Okay? Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. कोई एक मिलता है मुश्किल से. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. कोई एक ही विरला जान पाता है मुझे आखिर में. So that is the rare. On top of it, if you are going into the concept of soul, number one, you need to have people who know the subject matter. And those who know the subject matter hardly speak about it because they have gone so deep within inside them. And then of those, there should be somebody who is expert in imparting the knowledge. And when those experts impart the knowledge, hardly one or two may take interest in hearing that subject matter. That's the rarity of understanding the soul. आत्मा को समझना इतना विरल है. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic. So why is it Ascharyavat? Why is it amazing? One part of the amazement is, one reason it is amazing is, for example, if you take an elephant, he has a soul. The soul is of the same size as the soul in you and me. In Calcutta, I think there's a 500-old-year tree, maybe now 550 years. But I have heard about this banyan tree that branches, and then the branches have come up with more banyan. That banyan tree is half a century or more, 500 years or more. And it has a soul. It's huge, breadth-wise. It has one singular soul. You have one singular soul of the same size. Elephant has one singular soul of the same size. Dinosaurs had the one singular soul, same size. How come? Isn't it amazing? How come the same soul enters or occupies different bodies when the soul is of the same size? Sometimes huge body, sometimes. And the same one small soul can empower that huge or small body. The power to operate the body comes from the soul. That same soul can operate a dinosaur, and the same soul is operating you. The same soul is operating a snail or an amoeba. In 1 centimeter, there may be millions of amoeba. Each one has a soul. How come? Isn't it amazing? And isn't it more amazing? We as humans, the dinosaurs, the trees, any material living body, and body is dead, but it's as if it's living. Any body which has a G, which has a soul inside, that body goes through 6 transformations. It takes birth, so-called birth. It grows, it stays, byproducts, gets old, and then dies. Anything material has these 6 transformations. And despite these 6 transformations to the body, these effects that come on the body, the soul doesn't get affected. Body is growing old, soul doesn't get diseased, soul doesn't shrink, Soul doesn't get diseased or old. It was the it stays the way it was when it first entered that body. Isn't that amazing? If you have your environment in the house which gets altered, आपके घर में एक वातावरण है, if we change that environment in the house, there'll be some effect on you. You'll say, is it too noisy? No, 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 the air conditioning, something, or no, no, I'm not getting enough Krishna vibes here. Anything external affects you, but anything external as a body does not affect the soul finally. Why? Amazing. What kind of product is this? Now, men with poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of this atomic spirit spark, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge. Now, anyone, can you give us an example of someone who heard this but did not change? कोई एक उदाहरण दे पाएंगे जिसने सुना हो ये ज्ञान और बदलाव ना आया हो? वेरी सिंपल. कोई बोल सकता है? Okay, I'll give you the answer for this. In the battlefield, the Gita was spoken, and all the parties were listening to it. Who was the so-called hero of on the other side? Duryodhan. He also heard. He saw Krishna himself many times before. Jnana was given to him by the highest authority. But did he change? No. Why not? This is the same situation as our politicians of today, normal people of today, materialistics of today. Why? Despite you are giving them knowledge, they have no inclination to understand who they are. And that's the only thing which will take them out of this painful situation of birth and death in this material world. इस भौतिक जगत से निकलने का एकमात्र तरीका यही है भगवान की शरण. And to understand Lord, first we need to understand who we are. To understand who we are, we need to understand the differentiation between body and spirit. And when we start to understand the spirit, we find it very amazing. Pashyati, one who sees. So when we say the word here, some look, pashyati, at the soul as amazing. Now we know the soul is 10,000 the tip of a hair. Why are we using the word look here? Or in Sanskrit, we use the word pashyati. Why? If we cannot see it, then why is Krishna using the word look? Some look on the soul as amazing. So what does the word look mean here? Can someone share their experience or observation? यहां देखने का मतलब क्या हुआ? कुछ लोग आत्मा को आश्चर्य से देखते हैं. देखने का मतलब क्या? We cannot see it. देख तो पाओगे नहीं, बहुत छोटी है. It's too small to see. Why do we use the word look?
Maybe Prabhuji understanding the soul.
Very close, very close. Understanding how? Yeah, I give you the answer. Pashyati means to understand through Shastras and the Acharyas. शास्त्र एवं आचार्य के उपदेश द्वारा देखना, that is called seeing or pashyati. To see it through the eyes of the instructions given by the spiritual master or the sages and through the eyes of the Shastras. That is what we call Pashyati here. Okay. Now, what do we say in 4 point? Let me just bring it up and see if I can. 434. We say tadvidi pratipane pariprashane se upadeshati te jnanam jnana tattvadarshinaha. So how do you see that? Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. I'm trying to answer, how can you see the soul? Surrender to a guru. Just try to learn the truth. Truth ka matlab kya? What does truth mean? Transcendental truth. Who are you? What is the object for you in this life? And how to reach that object? That truth can be learned by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge means transcendental knowledge, onto you. Why? Because they have seen the truth. They have gone through the Shastras. They have followed the instructions of their previous acharyas. And that's why they have understood what soul is and how soul behaves. So that's the meaning of the word look. And then we use the word kaschit, some. What does kaschit mean here? Kaschit, someone. Remember, the amazement of a soul is that it has a swabhava, it has a swaroop. What is that? Nitya Gyan Anand. Like we say, Satchid Anand. So it's Nitya, it's eternal. The plants died, the flowers died, the soul stayed. Elephant died, the soul stayed. So it's Nitya. It's Jnana. Not only is it a Jnana, not only is it knowledge itself, it's also the knower of the knowledge also. And Anand, always seeking happiness, always wanting happiness. Amazing. So Kaschid. Kaschid means that person, someone who can see it, who can talk about it. Who is that Kaschid? Who is that someone? That someone, let me just bring it, that who can do actually bhakti. I'll just try to wrap up because time is short. I think we are already well over time. 728. This is Krishna explaining that these are the people who can get bhakti. Eshav antagatam papam janam punya karmanam te dandamoh nirmukto bhajante mam dadvitaha. Persons who have acted piously in the previous lives, पिछले जन्मों में जिसने पुण्य कर्म किए हों, and in this life, और इस जन्म में भी किए हों, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated. Both the conditions have to be fulfilled. You must have done good karmas in the past life and the present life, and all your previous sinful actions have been eradicated. They engage themselves in my service with determination. They are the ones who are someone who can see the soul through the eyes of Jnana, Shastra, instructions of the Guru. Those people will be able to see, understand this amazing soul, or the soul that is amazing. Okay, so I'll just read the second paragraph of the purport and then we'll stop here. I think we're well over it. Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes owing to ignorance, they are misguided by the acceptance of the super soul and the atomic soul as one without distinction of magnitude. Now, there may be in simple words, what it means is that there may be people who are inclined to listening, सुनना चाहते हैं, सुनते भी हैं, and they are in good association, but the knowledge that they are receiving may be incomplete. They may get misguided that the soul and the super soul are just one. No, Atma or Paramatma are two different things. They have different magnitude. एक छोटा है, एक बहुत बड़ा है. One is Anu, one is Vibhu. One is too small, one is too big. In its potency, we are talking of. If you go to Bhagavatam Canto 2, you'll be able to know the size of the super soul also. So there's a without distinction of magnitude. So the knowledge coming to these people who are inclined to listening sometimes is incorrect knowledge. And that's where they get misguided. Further on, it is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the super soul, the atomic soul, their respective functions, and the relationships, and all other major and minor details. बहुत कम ऐसे लोग होते हैं जिनको ये सब कुछ पता होता है. What Prabhupada is doing is he's taking this example from Kathopanishad, where it says that the person who understands the subject matter is very rare. And even rarer are those who are inclined to listening to that. Okay. So it is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of super soul, atomic soul, their respective functions and relationships, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from the knowledge of the soul and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. विरला ही कोई होगा जिसे पूरी समझ आई होगी, and that person has taken benefit out of that knowledge. Very, very rare. But if somehow or the other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. Now I come to the last paragraph, and this is actually a justification, not just it's a proof, or not proof, sorry, it's a way. So when we say, but if somehow or the other, yena kena prakare, jaise kaise bhi karke, if one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. Is there an easy way to understand? कोई आसान तरीका है इसको समझने का? To understand the soul, any easy way? Krishna did. Last paragraph. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of the self, अपने आप को समझने के लिए easiest process. What is the easiest process? Is to accept the statements of Bhagavad Gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories. बहुत हैं, ब्रह्मवादी हैं, मायावादी हैं, they speak all sorts of things. Prabhupada is cautioning the easiest way is to accept the statements of Bhagavad Gita. जो Bhagavad Gita यथारूप में लिखा हुआ है, उसी को पढ़ो, nothing else. Don't get deviated by other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones. लेकिन इस परिस्थिति तक पहुंचने के लिए कुछ पिछले जन्मों में और इस जन्म में कुछ तप, कुछ sacrifice किया होना चाहिए. And I gave you to substantiate this part that a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or I've already given you the verse from Bhagavad Gita, that those who have acted piously in the previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, they only understand these things with determination. Okay, so we continue with the last sentence of Prabhupada. So, but it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice. What Prabhupada is saying here is, you can read it theoretically about Atma. Some of us will get bored and leave it. but some of us may continue reading it. However, the concept of Atma will sink into us only if we have had some penance and sacrifice in this life or in the previous ones before we can accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such. So, one we are saying is before I can understand the Atma, I need to understand the words of Krishna. I need to believe Krishna. How do I do that? Answer: Krishna can, however, be known as such. जैसे के जैसे हैं वैसे समझना उनको, तोड़ मतोड़ के नहीं समझना. Krishna can, how be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee and by no other way. कृष्णा को समझने के लिए गुरु की आवश्यकता है और कृष्णा अपने आप को समझाने के लिए आपको गुरु देते हैं. You do need a pure devotee to understand Krishna. There is no other way, which finally boils down to, if you start from bottom and go all the way up, what it means is surrender onto a guru and try to understand the truth from him, and then with his instructions, and he will also guide you to read some shastras like Srimad Bhagavatam, and then you'll be able to see with those eyes what is soul and the amazing aspects of the soul. In this material world, as I said, there are many things: flowers, elephants, fruits, living. And each one amazes us with the variety. Each one has a soul. And that soul is amazing to us. There's one verse I picked up from Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll just read the translation for you. And this is just in similar line with what Krishna is saying. And this verse is spoken by Rishabdev to his 100 sons. A father is acting like a spiritual master for his 100 sons. एक पिता अपने 100 बेटों को as a spiritual master preaching कर रहे हैं. And what does he say? As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. जब तक आप अपने आप को समझने का प्रयत्न नहीं करोगे, आप इस भौतिक जगत में तड़पते ही रहोगे अज्ञान की वजह से. ज्ञान क्या है? अपने आप को पहले जानना, मैं कौन हूं. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. अच्छा कर्म हो या बुरा कर्म हो, there will be a reaction. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activities. As long as the mind is impure, जब तक मन प्रदूषित है, consciousness is unclear. चेतना ढकी रहेगी, चेतना unclear होगी. चेतना is polluted, consciousness is polluted. And as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activities, he has to accept a material body. जब तक आप कर्म कांडों में लगे रहोगे, as long as you continue to stay in the activities of how much I am benefiting, how much my body is developing, how much I can look after, instead of that, you need to be looking after how to get out of here, how to please Krishna. But if you are only looking for a sense gratification, khaya, piya, bistar mein soya, maja kiya, if you are into all those activities, you have to continue to accept a material body. इसके बाद फिर एक और जन्म मिलेगा. After this, you'll get another birth. You'll never be able to come to the stage of understanding the soul. To understand the soul, Prabhupada has said some penances and austerities are required. And you should be doing this from previous birth or even in this life. Then only you'll get a guru then and then only you'll be able to get the jnana from him. So once again, the last paragraph, the most important. What is the process? The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of the self is to accept the statements of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna can, however, be known. कैसे कृष्ण को कैसे जानूं? As such, by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee. कोई भक्त की मर्सी हो जाए आप पे, उससे कृष्णा जान पाओगे, और कृष्णा जानने से आप अपने आप को जान पाओगे. Thank you very much. I stop here. Hare Krishna. Anyone having any questions, please. Happy to answer. Yeah. Has anyone got any questions? No one? Okay. Okay. In which case, should we stop here then? Ganthra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Kulusila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhu.